Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Happy Thursday. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with Tre Tailor, because we will always be coping with something. So we're giving you information and advice to help you thrive and survive in your life. Today, we're coping with law enforcement. Sheriff Leon Lott with the Richland County Sheriffs Dept in Columbia, South Carolina, joins us to discuss efforts to address missing children, gun violence, and the recent attacks on officers. Sheriff Lott, thank you so much for joining us today.
Trey, great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great to see you too. We're going to talk to Sheriff Lott and more coming up next on Coping with Tre Tailor. But first, your COVID community updates. Richland School District 2 and the City of Columbia will partner to provide job opportunities for students. The Premier R2 career program will employ 16 through 18-year-olds at various City of Columbia departments for experience while they're still in school. Now, interested students can apply and will be giving training on how to do a successful interview. And the plans to renovate the century-old Finley Park are moving forward. The $21.5 million attraction is slated for a new playground, water features, an amphitheater, walking trail, and upgraded facilities. The mayor and council say the biggest priority now is finding permanent housing for the more than 250 homeless people that call the park their home. Still, the project is expected to be completed in 18 to 24 months. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and location for COVID testing and vaccinations in and around South Carolina. Visit scdheck.gov for more information. Now, throughout the show, you will see scrolling at the bottom of the screen several different pieces of information, including COVID resources, which includes where you can get your 5 free rapid tests from covidtest.gov. Also, veterans at the VA, you can get your tests and your COVID vaccinations there. The various retail outlets that offer COVID vaccinations, including Kroger, Walgreens, CVS. That includes the CVSs located in Target stores. The Comet bus system, where you can not only get a free COVID shot, but also get a ride to get your vaccine. Financial services, you'll also see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, including SC Bar Association and SC Legal Services. They've got a toll-free number and website for rental and mortgage help. SC Housing and Dominion Energy have a rental and utility assistance program. Also, Lexington, NAACP, and United Way have partnered for a housing stability services. You can see that information on the screen and the phone number. Also, if you or someone you know is having a challenge coping with anything, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health has SC Hopes. It's a 24-hour assistance line. Now, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you'll also see additional resources like employment information, including the South Carolina State Fair, Pet Supplies Plus, which is opening up a distribution center in Orangeburg, the City of Columbia, and other employment opportunities. Also, Food Share takes weekly orders each Wednesday for fresh fruit and vegetables. And September 14th, you can visit AmericanIdol.com/auditions. That's your final time to audition virtually for American Idol. Again, all of that information will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. So please post and share, as we say, so we can get the message to the masses. Hey, don't forget that Coping with Tre Tailor is streaming live on the TailorMade production page on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and find out when we go live. Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. And then, of course, on Thursday and Friday for Coping with Tre Tailor at 2 p.m. We're also streaming live on the YouTube channel. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. You can find 3 years of information, advice, resources, and also interviews since we've been doing the show. We started the show in March of 2019, when the pandemic first started. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Well, today we're coping with law enforcement. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Sheriff Leon Lott. He joins us to talk about some great initiatives that they've got, have launched throughout the city of Columbia. That's coming up next on Coping with Tre Tailor. We'll be right back.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hi, I'm Master Deputy Addie Perez with the Richland County Sheriffs Dept Community Action Team. As a mother, I know it's important to take care of my health for those I care about. Part of doing that is knowing my risk for developing type 2 diabetes. So if I was you, I'll take the opportunity to visit inittogethersc.org and take an online test to find out if you have prediabetes. Again, the website is inittogethersc.org. This message is brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
As Addie said, In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council presents Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with Tre Tailor. Check that out next Wednesday. And of course, today we are coping with law enforcement. I want to remind you, though, we are streaming live on the TailorMade production page on Facebook. We're also streaming live on the YouTube channel, and we've got a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. If you have a question or a comment, please post it, and we'll get that to either myself or our guest today as we are coping with law enforcement in South Carolina. Sheriff Leon Lott joins us. The Brigadier General with the South Carolina State Guard joined the Richland County Sheriffs Department in 1975 as a patrolman and became sheriff in 1996 when he turned the department into a community policing unit. The South Carolina Sheriff of the Year has also been awarded the National Sheriff of the Year. Sheriff Lott, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, I want to start with gun violence because that is such a big topic around the country and, particularly here in the city of Columbia. And it seems to be linked with young people. Tell me first how the Sheriff's Department is tackling the issue.
Well, we're doing it in a couple of different ways, education and enforcement. But education really being the key to it. We can't lock ourselves out of this issue that we've got. We've got to educate young people that guns are not the answer, that gun's going to get you one or two places, either the cemetery or in prison. But unfortunately, our young people are not being educated about that as much as they should be. So we have a generation now at 14 to 28 age group that believes that gun is the answer to everything that they have in life. That is, gives them power, it gives them respect, and it really doesn't. But if you look at the video games they play, the music they listen to, the people they idolize, all that glorifies violence, glorifies drugs, it glorifies hurting people. And a video game is not real life. And we see so many young people that think, okay, well, I've just shot somebody, a button's going to push and they're going to come back to life. That doesn't happen. They're not living in reality. and they don't understand the consequences of their actions. Once they do shoot that gun and that bullet goes out, you can't call that bullet back once you pull that trigger. And we have to do a better job of educating our young people. And it's not a law enforcement problem. This is a community problem. And the only way for us to be successful is have the whole entire community be involved in the solution. This is one way right here. Through your show, we're also educating people. This is part of that community effort that we need to reach our young people, to encourage them and teach them and educate them. Leave that gun alone. But we see this problem nationwide. It's not just a Richland County, City of Columbia problem. This is a nationwide problem. We're not as bad as some areas of our country. I'm fortunate and I speak to major county sheriffs and major county chiefs throughout America. They have a lot worse than us. But we have lost too many young people, and we need to do something about it. We're not going to sit back and say, okay, well, this is really not a problem, and put our head in the sand. If we do that, it's going to grow to where we do have an epidemic of losing young people. But we're losing too many young people either to cemetery or prison right now.
Sheriff Lott, I want to go back to something you said earlier about the video games. Are you actually hearing kids say that they didn't think the gunshot would be fatal, or they thought in their mind that they're shooting a gun and then they could hit the reset button on life and that it wouldn't have really happened?
Yeah, that's coming from young people. That is what young people have told us in the past.
Wow.
Those who have a conscience, not all of them, but some of those that do have that conscience, and then they realize what they've done, and they'll say, that's not the way it is when I play my games. And they don't understand that blood is real and that death is real and it's permanent.
Yeah,
and
that's mind blowing. That's mind blowing.
But that's what these young people tell us. And to me, that's a tragedy that we haven't educated that young person, that we did not do enough in their life to teach them. We didn't give them enough positive places to go, positive things to do that kept them from getting involved with the gangs. But look at our young kids. They're just bombarded every day with violence.
Yeah.
With everything around them centers around violence. So they don't know any better. And if we don't teach them, then they think that's the way life it should be. And it's not the way life should be. So we've got to do a better job as a overall community reaching our young people. And we've said this slogan years and years. It takes a village to raise a child. It does take a village to raise a child. And that is all of us. They may not be our biological children, but they're our kids. They're our kids in our community. So we need to be concerned about them. We need to do something. Need to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And I called out churches at the first of the summer before summer started and said, churches, get out of the four walls. Your church is not the four walls. Your church has got to be in the community.
Absolutely.
Your young people are going to church. I'm not worried about them. It's the young people who are not going into church. You've got to get out of that building and get into community and reach those kids who need it more than anybody else at this particular time. So, and a lot of churches have stepped up. I'll give our church community, our faith community, credit. When I did call them out, they've gotten out and they've done more. They continue to do more. So I'm very encouraged by that.
Yeah, Sheriff Leon Lott is with the Richland County Sheriffs Department. He's sheriff of the Richland County Sheriffs Department, and we are talking today about a myriad of things right now, gun violence. Is it access to guns legally? I mean, is the problem, where are the kids getting the guns? I guess that's my thing. Is it always somebody may have left their gun out or didn't lock their car? Because I hear that a lot.
And that is so accurate. And that's where they're getting them from, is from us. When I say us, that's the adults.
Right.
We're in the South. Everybody wants to have their guns. And where did they leave them? They leave them in their vehicle. And one of our community action team deputies that works with Deputy Perez, who you saw earlier on the commercial spot, came up with a slogan: your vehicle is not a holster. Don't leave your gun in it.
Right.
Think about that. Your vehicle is not a holster that you carry your gun in. Don't leave your gun in your vehicle. And that's what so many people do, is they leave their guns in the vehicle, leave their vehicles unlocked. And at night, young people go through neighborhoods and they just open doors and there's a gun. then that gun ends up on the street and ends up somebody getting shot. So the accessibility of the guns is out there because we're not being responsible gun owners. This has nothing to do with gun control. It's about being a responsible gun owner, which means you have to secure that weapon at all times. And we have so many people who don't do that. It's every day when I read the nightly reports on what happened during the night, there's always a report. Somebody's gun got stolen because they left it in the vehicle.
Wow. And now you mentioned the ages that are being affected. You said between 13 and 28?
14 and 28.
14 and 28.
14 and 28. That's the age group that we're losing that generation.
Yeah.
And they're the shooters, but they're also the victims.
The victims.
And they're both victims and shooters is in that age group. And you know, we know what age group we have to focus on. So we have to start that education really when they're in kindergarten. It's just like you teach a child math and English. You know, you don't do it one time and just that's it. You have to do it when they're young and reinforce it every year and keep reinforcing it. So when they do get to that middle school age, then they know I'm not going to pick that gun up. I'm not going to carry a gun.
Right.
And you know, so we can't wait till they're in high school or 9th grade or 8th grade to start teaching. We got to do it a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, there's so much more I want to talk to you about, but I really want to key in on this gun thing because I want to ask, so for the kindergartners, for the little ones, what do we tell them? And then for the kids that we can't go backwards, you know, the older kids, how do we address them? What should we tell them?
Well, we start off, I go to schools all the time and read books. A book called Officer Buckle and Glorious about a police officer and a police dog that goes to school, and he talk about safety tips. I can read that book to even kindergartens, and we talk about safety tips, you know, and then we talk about, you know, do you play with fire? And say, no, you don't play with fire. Do you pick up a real gun? And they say, no. And then I say, okay, if you pick that real gun up, and I go, bang, and it real loud, I say it, and it scares them, but it gets their attention. And,
yeah,
you know, so I want them to know that that gun is real. It's not something you play with, and that it can hurt you. So you can do that at a young age. You just have to get down to their level. The way I talk to a kindergartner is a lot different. I'm going to talk to someone who's in high school, but the message is still the same, that gun is dangerous. Don't play with that gun. Don't have that gun. That message has got to be consistent every single year, and you just keep reinforcing that.
Are we also telling them, Sheriff Lott, the best ways to deal with conflict resolution? Because it seems to me that may be the thing too. If you have a beef with somebody or mad at somebody, shooting isn't the way to you know, make it
right. And I asked a young person that was involved in a shooting recently, why did you shoot? Why didn't you just fight? And he said, we don't fight anymore. Because if you get in a fight, everybody is videoing it with their phones. And if I get my butt beat, then the world's going to see that.
Wow.
I don't. So I'm just going to pull my gun out and I'm going to shoot and kill him.
Good grief.
And that's reality. That's how they feel. That's why you don't have fights anymore. That's why you don't have them solving it, you know, like our parents did or I did, you know, where you just, you know, go and have a fight and only people see it's maybe 2 or 3 of your friends are standing there. Now the world's going to see it because it's going to be Facebook Live. It's going to be, you know, TikTok. It's going to be, you know, it's YouTube. It's going to be everything that you're using to get your show out.
Yeah.
They're going to use that to get out that I just got my butt beat. I don't want to be embarrassed. So I'd rather just shoot somebody.
Wow.
That's the mentality that our young people have. So we don't teach conflict resolution enough. And when we don't, then the only way that a young person thinks they're going to solve that conflict is I'm going to pull a gun out. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to ride by your house and I'm going to shoot 70 times in your house. I'm going to shoot at your car. Now that's how I'm going to get you. It is through guns. And we have to change that mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheriff Leon Lott has been the sheriff for the Richland County Sheriffs Dept since 1996. We're talking to him today about the several initiatives that have been launched with the Richland County Sheriffs Dept. Sheriff Lott, is any of this or how much of this is gang related?
Some of it, and you can't blame it all on gangs. We had 35 murders in Richland County last year. We solved all 35 murders. All 35 murders were done with a gun. Only 2 were gang related.
Oh, wow.
So I think, we do have gangs and they do contribute to the violence, but it is not totally gangs. You post something about my girlfriend on Instagram, I'm gonna go shoot you.
Mm.
There's a YouTube video that's out that happened 2 days ago at a school bus stop where a couple people pulled up where some kids were waiting to go on the bus and they run them off with guns and stuff and they were yelling at them. You'll think before you put stuff on Instagram again. That violence was a result of somebody posting something on Instagram.
Mm.
And so that's not gangs. That's
Right.
that's disrespect.
Yeah.
Right now, kids are they're just begging for somebody to respect them. So if you disrespect me somehow or disrespect my girlfriend or my best friend, and now they're gonna go, I'm gonna go shoot your house up.
Mm.
I'm gonna shoot you. That's their conflict resolution for today versus how it used to be 30 years ago. It's different and it's more violent.
There are several organizations that have appeared on this show that I'm sure you're familiar with that are really doing some seemingly good grassroots work in our community. Are you collaborating with them or working with them on this effort?
Yeah, we're just one part of the solution. We're not the solution. We're one part of it. So we're working with the churches. We work in the civic organizations, the parks, the schools, the different organizations you're talking about are doing things at grassroots in the community. We're there with all of them. We're working together. One thing that we do a lot of is school resource officers.
Mm-hmm.
I have 103 school resource officers. 103. That is more school resource officers than most agencies have cops on their force.
Wow.
We have every school in Richland County is covered. That's elementary, middle school, high school, alternative schools, charter schools, private school. We have them, all of our schools covered, and these school resource officers are there to do the educational part. Just them being on campus with the visibility of a marked car and a uniform officer, that keeps that campus safe. But then we take it a step further. They're in the classroom. They're teaching conflict resolution. They teaching nonviolence. They teaching our kids to put the guns down. So that's one of the biggest efforts we have is through our school resource officers.
Yeah, yeah. What about, so what do you say to families? I know you say churches need to come out of the four-wall ministry. What do families need to do? I mean, listen, a lot of families are still reeling from, the pandemic. People are not working, people are working, people are stressed. And what can families do? Because I know families want to help their children, obviously.
Right.
So what do they need to do?
It doesn't cost money to be a parent. It really don't. Your child wants 2 things from you. That's your time and that's your love. And that you don't get that at Walmart. You get that from you. You need to be a parent. That means you know who your child's friends are. You know where they're at. You know everything about your child. There's no privacy in that house. That house belongs to you.
Right.
There's no locked doors. There's no book packs that you don't know what's in there. They're not going somewhere unless you know where they're at. And then you verify where they're at. If they have a cell phone, it's called Life 360. It's a free service. You put it on your phone, put it on their phone, and you can track them. You can know where they're at, everything about where your child's at. That's what a parent does. I got a 19-year-old daughter, and I've told her whole life, I am not your best friend. I am your daddy.
Right.
And that's a difference between being a parent and being an adult who just lives in a house with a child.
Yeah.
Nothing pains me more than at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we're locking up 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids who are out breaking into cars at 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning during the school week.
Right.
How in the world did they get out of that house?
Get out of the house, yeah.
Right. That's a child living in a house with an adult, not with a parent.
Yeah.
And so the parents have got to take responsibility also. And I know some parents do struggle. It's not easy being a parent. I have 4 daughters. I know it's not easy. I've made my mistakes too, but it's not embarrassing to ask for help. Through our youth services division, we have parent support groups. Our deputies assigned to youth services help parents be parents. So, so there's resources out there to help you be that parent and help you with the struggles. And, we've been through it. We've made mistakes. We help you, guide you. So there's help for somebody who wants it, but you got to want it. You got to want it, and you got to want being that. You got to want being that parent. Again, your time and your love. If you don't give your time and your love to your child, I guarantee you they're going to turn to gangs, because that gang is going to provide them attention. It's going to provide them that false love, and then it's going to get involved in drugs and in violence. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
So if you don't do it, then that comes back to the village. That's where we do it. That's where our community steps in and supplements what our parents should be doing.
Yeah, Danielle Lake, Sheriff Lott says, thank you for your service. She says, bravo for solving those crimes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle, for your comment. We've got just a couple of more minutes before you leave. Time flies when you're having a great conversation. And I want to talk a little bit before we leave about the missing children's page. We know that there is a problem with children going missing. Again, not only in South Carolina, it's all over the world. Can you tell us a little bit about the missing children's page, Sheriff Lott, how it's been launched, how it's doing, and we can see the page right there, and what people need to know to take advantage of it?
All right. Again, it goes back to the community. We publicize this page, our missing children, because we want our community to be involved in helping us try to find them. The worst nightmare you can have as a parent is for your child to go missing.
Yeah.
And even if they're a runaway, they're still missing.
Right.
So we have a group of investigators that is all they do is investigate and try to track down missing children and missing adults, particularly those who've got dementia, that wander. So we make sure that we do everything that we can to find them. And that includes publicizing what you're seeing on these pages here. We want the community to look at it. So if they see one of these children that's been missing, we want them to call us and let us know. Most young people, when they go missing, it's because they choose to do that. But it's still up to us to go find them. A 13-year-old who has run away from home, odds are she's going to get involved, particularly females are going to get involved in something bad. We don't recover them. So we do all we can to recover them. But this page was just an idea really from the community. Some community leaders I talked to one day, we were talking about some missing children, and they said, well, let's put it out. And we do it on TV. We do it through the media when we have a missing child. So, but let's do it for these other ones too. So that's where we came up with the idea of this page, and that's why we have it up there. And it's been successful. We get the calls, which is that makes it all worthwhile.
So it's updated how? As soon as a child goes missing? I mean, how do you get your child's, picture on the website?
Our investigators contact our public information officers, and they update it. They try to keep it current. They try to keep current pictures up, and then they monitor it. And so, when a child is reported missing to us, then we actually have just a process, ABC, that goes through till we get it put on there. Okay. We want to find them, and it doesn't matter where they're at. We're going to do everything we can to find them.
And if people have seen these children, they then call the Richland County Sheriff's Department, correct?
They can call 911. I mean, they can call 911 and say, hey, I saw a child that I saw missing on the Sheriff's Department page. This is where they're at. So, somebody will respond. So it doesn't just have to be somebody in the Columbia area. I mean, you've got viewers all over the place.
Yeah.
So your viewers somewhere else outside of Columbia sees a child, call 911. That's the fastest way to get somebody there.
Right. All right. So if people want more information, they can go to the Richland County Sheriff's Department website. We see it there. You'll see the missing children's page. And please check out these page maybe once a week, a couple of times a week, to kind of refresh your memory to see if perhaps you have seen one of these children, and then call either the Richland County Sheriff's Department or 911. Sheriff Lott, thank you so much. I know there was more we wanted to talk about, but time flies. I tell you.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you do what you do, because this is part of the community being involved. Allow me to come over and talk with you and your listeners. And so thank you for what you do for this community.
Thank you, Sheriff Lott. I appreciate you so much. Sheriff Leon Lott has been the sheriff of Richland County since 1996, and we are so appreciative of all of the work that he has done. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that can help someone cope, then please email booking@copingwithtretailor.com. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope, please email copingwithtretailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID or Coping with Tre Tailor. The Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson. The Comet Bus System, Javis Financial Services. Black Pages Black Expo, already gearing up for the 2023 season. And Agape Counseling and Training Services. And definitely want to thank the folks at Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Coming up tomorrow, what's new and exciting at the Richland County Public Library? Did you know that you can actually rent things other than books, like a lawnmower, from the Richland County Public Library? Media Relations Director Kimberly Davis joins us tomorrow for all of the updates and all of the exciting new changes at the Richland County Public Library. That's tomorrow right here on Coping with Tre Tailor. As usual, I leave you with a spiritual reading. We've been reading Jesus Calling. We're going to start reading something else next month. But this says today, which is August 25th, it says, God says this: I am the eternal I am. I've always been and I always will be. In my presence, you experience love and light, peace and joy. I am intimately involved in all of your moments, and I am training you to be aware of me at all times. Your assignment is to collaborate with me in this training process. I am taking up residence within you. I am central in your innermost being. Don't be alarmed by your inability to remain focused. Simply bring your thoughts gently back to me each time they wander. The quickest way to redirect your mind back to the Lord is to whisper his name, Jesus. That's your Jesus Calling for today, Thursday, August 25th. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you again so much for joining us on Coping with Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you navigate through your life, because we will always be coping with something, and we'll be here to help you through it. Until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Take care. God bless. Stay well. And please remember to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do, 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever.